Welcome back, and today we are tier listing all of season 24 of Doctor Who from 1987. First up is Time and the Rani. So I gave this episode a 3. It was a mixed bag for me. This is the 7th Doctor's first adventure, and the 7th Doctor is one of my favourite Doctors. So kind of annoyed that he got a bit of a dud adventure as his first one. Especially so that the Rani was in this one as well, and I like the Rani. If you've seen my tier list for season 22, you'll know that I do like the Rani. I think she's a great addition to the roster of the Doctor's rogues. So it's annoying that the first 7th Doctor episode, which has the Rani in it, is not a favourite of mine. First thing to say, the cold open to this episode has horrific CGI. Just bloody awful. Awful CGI. I get that that's the best they could do, but maybe they just shouldn't. They just shouldn't have at all. So the 6th Doctor didn't get a regeneration story, and this is the best that they could do for that. And whilst in the real world I completely understand why Colin Baker didn't want to return and do his regeneration, I do like how this story at least got it over with immediately and enabled us to just get straight into the story of the episode. The Rani pretending to be Mel was interesting. She did a pretty good job. But that does bring up my first random point, that no one can tell me that the Master and the Rani were not in the Academy Theatre group together, because they're both great at disguises and they both love committing to the bit. Sure, the Master relishes it a lot more than the Rani, but the Rani is pretty darn good at it. She's had the experience, she must have. She seems to do it out of necessity for her plans, whereas the Master does it because he just loves it. But they were definitely in an Academy Theatre group together, and no one can tell me otherwise. They both clearly performed in Academy Theatre shows, and the rest of the deco just turned up going, yay! Go guys! Moving on to Mel. I love when she meets the 7th Doctor for the first time, because she was unconscious when the Rani took him. And she meets the 7th Doctor for the first time and just completely flips him. She just flips him over because she wants answers. Mel is amazing. However, other than those aspects of the Doctor and Mel getting used to each other and the regeneration parts of it, I didn't really care for the actual story of the serial. There's not much to it, and I just don't think it warranted 4 whole episodes dedicated to this story. It was a bit of a nothingness, really. The serial as a whole is so very 80s. Mel's outfit, the Rani's outfit, the intro, everything is very, very 80s. And I'm not a fan at all of the new title sequence. I don't like it. No, don't like the new title sequence for this one. Gotta be honest, I don't like it. Last thing to say before I tier list this one. The Doctor is said to be 953 years old in this serial, as is the Rani. They're the same age. So I'm assuming that is their age in Gallifreyan years, because they wouldn't be able to tie it together with other galaxy years, would they? So I'm going to say that in this serial, the Doctor and the Rani are 953 in Gallifreyan years, which does raise questions on how the Rani is the exact same age as the Doctor, considering they're both renegades, they both run away from Gallifrey. The timey-wiminess of that confuses me. But 953. As for tier listing this, I think I'm going to put it into Wibbly Wobbly. It's not great for a first new Doctor story, but it's not as bad as the Twin Dilemma. There were still aspects of the story I liked. It's just that the best parts were the regeneration bits and the Mel meeting the Doctor bits and stuff like that. Overall, it wasn't great. I wouldn't even say it was good as such. I'd say it's okay. So I'm going to put it into Wibbly Wobbly. And the MVP for the episode is Icona. Icona. Next up is Paradise Towers. Okay, let's just get this out of the way here. I rated it a full 5. I loved every single minute of this one. It was brilliant, and it's going into Uyu. This is what Doctor Who is best at, okay? Give us a wacky mystery, zany characters, and a decent story as well. I love it. I love this one. Paradise Towers is one of my favourite classic Who stories. It's fabulous. So we've got the initial mystery right at the beginning with this one young girl being hunted by someone or something, and she's clearly scared. So you're instantly drawn in and think, what's going on here? I want to know more. Love it. Then later on we meet the Kangs, and I am very confused by the Kangs. They're all clearly teenage girl gangs, but why don't they remember anything from before they were dropped off at Paradise Towers? They were dropped off as teenagers, right? So why don't they remember anything? That was weird. Also, the Kangs won't unalive each other, as they put it. I'm not censoring myself, that's just what they say. They won't unalive each other, but they do carry crossbows around and point them directly at each other. So I'm very confused by the Kangs. The Kangs all around confuse me. I love them, but they confuse me. But I do love how protective the Doctor is of the Kangs. I mean, they are, after all, just teenagers, and it's really sweet that the Doctor is immediately protective of them all and treats them really sweet. He's a great Doctor. I'm even more confused by the Rezzies. Do all of them eat people, or just the two that Mel happened to meet? I mean, I don't get it. And also, they should have had a life before Paradise Towers, way more so than the Kangs. Why don't they remember that or have any mention of that? It's weird. Pex. Let's talk about Pex. I love Pex. He's adorable. Smashing through doors because he just hopes that behind one of the doors he smashes, someone needs his help. It's adorable. Like, seriously, he enters a room by smashing through the door and asks if anyone in the room is bothering anyone else. I love it. I love it. Speaking of the Doctor, there's a scene that I just wanted to bring up where he tricks the guards into letting him go by using the rule book against them, by claiming that there's a rule in there that there isn't, and I just think that's a really Doctor-y scene and I love it. Just wanted to say that. Also, at the end, the Doctor is so worried about how he's going to try and convince all these different groups, the Rezzies, the Kangs, the guards, to all work together against the bad guy and the cleaners. And he doesn't need to. In the end, he doesn't need to because they all come together naturally. The Doctor does help bring the Kangs together, the different coloured Kang groups. You've got red, blue and yellow Kangs, except the yellow Kangs are all dead by this point. So you've got the red and blue Kangs. He brings them together as one. But then the Rezzies come and offer peace to the Kangs. And then the guards come and offer peace as well. So the Doctor doesn't have to do shit. They all just do it together, and that's really quite nice. I do like when other people get to do things instead of the Doctor having to do it all the time. And Paradise Towers has that in buckets. So yeah, Paradise Towers is one of my favourite serials of Classic Who. It's in Uyu. I think it's a brilliant Doctor Who serial, and it's probably the one I'd choose for the 7th Doctor if I was going to show someone a 7th Doctor episode. It would probably be Paradise Towers because it's just brilliant. And the MVP for the serial is Pex. Next up is Delta and the Bannermen. So this serial got a 4, and it's definitely better than I remembered. What I thought on my first watch was that it wasn't very good. I probably would have given it a 3, maybe a very high 2. But on my rewatch, and again, this is why I wanted to do the rewatch, I gave it a 4. I do think it's quite a tightly written serial. It is good. I just have some issues with it, so I can't really put it too high. The first thing that struck me with the serial though is that the Doctor and Mel go somewhere, and because they're the 1 millionth people to go there or something, they win a prize. And this grand prize is to go to Disneyland, specifically in 1959. I mean, I can't imagine that's a very safe place to be, specifically 1959 Disneyland. The ride surely could not have been safe or secure. I would be very worried about that. Plus, have you seen the characters? They look creepy as fuck. Also, the other tourists that the Doctor and Mel travel with, I do love the fact that they are not human or humanoid. You only see one of them being changed, but they all wear a sort of disguise that they go through a little portal type thing that disguises them into a humanoid body. And I do like that, the fact that they're not human. Yes, you can't see them all as the aliens that they are because money, but you do get to see one of them being changed into a human to show that they aren't human, and I do love that. It just widens the universe more. So there's a baby in this episode, and at first this thing is gross. Like, it doesn't look like a baby, it just looks gross. It's weird and creepy and a gross little green wriggly thing. Obviously the baby grows up into a human baby, painted green, and then a human child several times, painted green. And there's a beekeeper later in the episode who meets this child and has no reaction whatsoever to meeting a fully green humanoid child. That guy was this close to getting MVP just for that alone, gonna be honest. My main issue with this story is that there is a really crappy love story. Okay, so Delta and some guy fall in love in this serial to the point where this guy changes his entire species to be with her after knowing her for like a day. Just as a side note, when I rewatched this episode, it was basically a day after the War Between the Land and Sea finale. So that was still pretty fresh in my mind when I watched this travesty. The travesty being the crappy love story, not the episode itself, just to confirm. But yeah, a day after the War Between finale, I wasn't ready for this shit again. I just was not ready. If you've been watching these lists, you know me by now. I do not like a crappy love story that takes place within a day, okay? I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. Stop trying to sell it to me. Go away. Oh, Billy's the guy's name. But Billy and Delta do not make a good couple. What is this? Billy's a fucking idiot, changing his entire species for a girl he met a day ago. I mean, part of me thinks really good on him. He's going to take care of her. He's going to take care of this baby who's not even his. Good on him. Good guy, Billy. However, he strung Ray along. Poor little Ray. Love her. Rachel Ray, love her. I feel really bad for Rachel, honestly. She just wanted her man, and not only did she not get him, would be upsetting in itself, but it happens. But she had to watch him fall in love with an alien he met 24 hours prior. In fact, I'm pretty sure he fell in love with her the moment he met her. Stop sending me crappy love stories! Although it did give us a chance to have that really good scene with the doctor when he found Ray crying in a cupboard or something, and he went and comforted her, and it was really sweet. So we did have that very human moment with the doctor, and I do appreciate when we have those moments. Also, Billy's an idiot and Ray deserves way better anyway. Last thing to say about the serial is that there's a lot of lovely 1950s music used throughout, and I love it. It really sets the scene, it sets the tone, gives it a whole atmosphere based in this camp, because I probably should have clarified, they don't actually go to 1959 Disneyland, they mess up and get to this Welsh campsite in the 50s instead. Right time, wrong place. But the music used really sets the scene and I love it. For the tier though, for this one, I think I'm going to put it into Upgrade in Progress. I can't put it in Fantastic because the love story is not believable, I don't like it, Billy sucks, Ray deserves better, but in general it was a better serial than I remembered it being, and it was way more enjoyable than I remembered it being. So I think Upgrade in Progress is the best place for this one. And the MVP for this serial is Rachel, also known as Ray. The final serial for this season is Dragonfire. So in Dragonfire we say goodbye to Mel and hello to one of my favourite companions of the classic era, Ace. This serial, however, is not brilliant. I gave it a 3. I think it's okay. I was sad to see Mel go, especially on the rewatch, because she is way better than anyone gives her credit for. But I was also very, very happy to see Ace at last, because I've wanted Ace for ages. Love Ace. Brilliant character. Although this serial did make me realise how little Mel is actually in the TARDIS. We don't really have any TARDIS scenes with Mel apart from Time in the Rani and this one. So she's barely there, barely in the TARDIS. Going back to Ace for a moment, I love her story. It's so tragic. She is a teenage girl who's gone through trauma and she's just made the best of it. She has put her past behind her as much as she could. Yes, she's still got a massive chip on her shoulder, but that is a huge part of her character. And she doesn't let anyone else use that against her. She's very, very feisty and sometimes aggressive, but she's a teenager. Come on. But yeah, her story is tragic and the next 2 seasons with her gets even more in depth with that, and I love it. I love the fact that we've got a companion who we dive into the backstory of. It just makes me feel like what we have in New Who, where we have companions with backstories, with families, with friends, with jobs even, where we see that life and we spend time with them in that life, in their homes. It makes me think that that's where Doctor Who was always headed. That's where Doctor Who was going with Ace, and I love it. Again, Glitz was brought back as well, Sabalon Glitz. He's brought back after the trial of a Time Lord, and I liked that. Wasn't so keen on Mel leaving with him, but I guess you can keep him out of trouble. The cliffhanger to part 1 was weird. The Doctor climbing over the barrier, hanging on with the umbrella. I don't know why he did that. On the second watch, I was expecting to pick up on why. I don't think it was ever said. He just sort of did it, and I don't know why. It makes for a cool shot, but there's no sense to it. I loved that the Doctor tried to distract someone with a theological debate and the guy got proper into it. That was funny. The bad guy, his ending, I mean, it went full Indiana Jones there for a moment. I am surprised they got away with that in Doctor Who. There's been a few deaths now in Doctor Who where they've been quite horrific, and I'm surprised that this was okay to put on for children. But his whole face fucking melted. Okay, that was horrific. Anywho, the story of this serial was a bit bland. The best parts were the more character-based moments with Ace and Mel. So I think I'm going to put this one into Wibbly Wobbly. I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything terrible about it. I just don't really care about the main story. And the MVP for the serial is, of course, Ace. So that is season 24 tier listed, and I mean, other than Paradise Towers, it's quite a middle-of-the-road season. It's hard with seasons that are about 4 serials long, as opposed to, say, the original Hartnell and Troughton seasons, which had about 10 serials to them. There's not much in the way of balance possible here. It definitely feels more middle-of-the-road than anything else. But I still had a fun time. I love the 7th Doctor, I really like Mel, and I'm so glad we've got Ace now. Season stats. The most common score for the series was a 3, and the season average was a 3.79. The quote of the season comes from Time in the Rani, and it's just a fun little moment, this one. I didn't want anything too political or too depressing, so I picked a fun little moment for this one, which is just showing how much a companion knows her Doctor. So it's Mel talking to Icona, and Mel says, "Something must have gone terribly wrong." Iacona says, "The logic of that escapes me." And Mel responds, "Well, they kidnapped the Doctor, and no one would do that unless they were desperate for his help. He's not exactly predictable." I just think it shows how well Mel knows the Doctor. And it is quite accurate, let's be honest. But that is it. That is season 24 tier listed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think I've rated Paradise Towers too highly? Do you think I've rated Dragonfire too low? Let me know all your thoughts, and I will see you next time for season 25.